We live in a world addicted to noise. The music, the hustle, the ambition, the improvement, the optimism, the overwhelm, positivity, righteousness, the beliefs we call the truth, the dreams that we're just so determined to make come true. We'll do anything to drown out this part of us that's quietly asking for attention. We'll starve ourselves of food, rest, connection, before we'll sit in the silence of what's really there. I once had a mechanic tell me, if you don't want to hear the problem, just turn up the volume, just turn up the radio. And he was half joking, but he also wasn't. I've come to realize that so many of us live our lives like that. We don't want to face the problem. We want to look for something that distracts us from it, in fact. And at first, we may even hear the noise, and we may even get worried about it. It's subtle, but we notice it. We think, oh, that doesn't sound right. And so we go to talk to someone, and maybe they tell us it's not important. Maybe it's a partner or a friend or a coach or a colleague. Could even be a podcast. Just keep driving, just don't overthink it, just focus on the goal. And so we do. And we learn to turn up the volume and convince ourselves that the sound was never there, and even believe that after all, if the problem were real, then it would make itself known and it would be more obvious. And so I think eventually we just stop hearing the problem altogether. Not because it's disappeared, but because we've trained ourselves to ignore it. When the engine catastrophically fails and we're on the side of the road broken down, maybe we hit the car, maybe we blame the mechanic, maybe we curse the situation and the stress and the unfairness and the timing, and we might point our finger at anyone but ourselves. Or maybe we kick ourselves for being so stupid and ignoring the signs. Whatever it is, we're frustrated because we knew that we were the ones who chose not to listen. We do this everywhere. I think we follow a philosophy of distraction and denial and then play the victim when the consequences finally arrive, when the relationship ends, when the body breaks down, when the emptiness sets in and the truth breaks through these cracks that we've been painting over for the longest time. And maybe we'll call it bad luck, and maybe we'll call it genetics, maybe we'll just call it destiny or fate. But what if it was just a refusal to turn down the volume long enough to pay attention? I think stillness feels dangerous when we're not used to hearing ourselves. We say we want peace, but then we chase it through conflict and chaos. We say we want clarity, but we avoid the mirror and avoid the reflection. We say we want the truth, but only if it's something that we like or validates us or that we already agree with. The thing I found is that the truth doesn't shout, it whispers, but it's a persistent whisper, and we're just too loud and stubborn to hear it. The whole truth is omnipresent. It's just us who choose to be selective about what we do and don't listen to so that we don't have to feel threatened by it. And I think that the truth isn't actually the threat. I think what's threatening is what the truth triggers in us. It's we who are the threat to the truth. It's a truth we believe that if we revealed and brought it into the light, then maybe we mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally won't survive it. And that can feel like suicide, even to admit it out loud, let alone to admit it to ourselves. My sister once traveled around Australia in a caravan. She didn't have a schedule. There was no rush. There was no algorithm telling her what to care or think about. And she told me how different the world looked when you were moving slowly enough to actually see it. How things that felt invisible at 100 kilometers an hour suddenly became radiant and interesting. How in the absence of noise, her inner compass had a chance to orientate. How she discovered so many amazing things hidden in plain sight because, well, she turned down the volume. I think about that a lot, especially when I notice how many of us, including myself, just keep turning up the volume to avoid hearing the subtle wisdom that's whispering to us. No longer can we just sit. Sitting now means scrolling. No longer can we wait. Waiting now means multitasking. No longer can we just listen. Listening means we've got to coach and judge and give our opinion. No longer can we just observe. Observing now means we have to take action or be productive. So here's a question for you. How are we supposed to tell the truth when we're too busy competing with the noise of our own deception? And maybe more importantly, what would it take for us to turn the volume down? Not just on the world, but on the parts of ourselves that keep shouting over the parts of us that already know what we're trying to protect, what we're already trying to avoid and escape from. This isn't about shame, blame, or guilt, or exposing anyone. This is about creating a space within you that's just for you, where the value of your silence is respected once again by you, where you can look in the mirror and not turn away from who you see looking back at you. I think this is where stillness becomes a strength, and the truth doesn't have to raise its voice to be heard anymore. You don't have to get sick. You don't need to destroy your marriage. You don't need to go bankrupt. You don't need to cheat and hide or lie if you're just willing to turn the volume down for a minute and actually listen carefully. But how do you listen carefully if you've spent your whole life practicing turning up the volume? If you've forgotten how to listen to you, and I mean really listen to you, listening to understand you and not just to respond, the kind of listening that is for connecting deeply, not competing, then maybe you want to join our community. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to rescue you from the noise or even help you turn down the volume. I'm here to help you remember who you were before the volume became necessary and then leave you to decide. Just maybe when you remember who you are before you became someone else, you might choose to listen to you instead of ignore you. If that sounds like you and you're ready to tell the truth, to listen, to pay attention, then please come join us. I look forward to seeing you inside.